Good day and welcome to Hypothetically Speaking. Today we're talking about something simple but powerful, information. Because when it comes to shaping our communities, information isn't just data, it's power, it's access, and it's the difference between being part of the process or watching it unfold without you. Let's start in Janesville. This city has a habit of dropping essential public information late. Take the Plan Commission, for example. It meets on Monday evenings, but the agenda? Well, it often doesn't reach the public until late Friday, or even sometimes over the weekend. That's after press deadlines. That's after meaningful public review, and sometimes it's even after commissioners themselves have had a chance to dig in and understand the facts. We call this pattern information interruptus. And believe me, it has consequences. It leaves decision makers rushed, applicants without robust feedback, and residents locked out of the process until it's too late to really matter. Over time, it breeds mistrust, and that mistrust shows up in the data. Now, let's imagine for a minute a different rhythm. Imagine every Plan Commission agenda landing in your inbox 1 week ahead with plain language summaries, with public question and answer portals open immediately, and commissioners with time to respond before decisions are made. More voices, fewer surprises. Now, that's not a fantasy. Believe it or not, that's standard practice in well-run cities. So, here's the question. Will Janesville choose speed for staff or access for citizens? Let's go deeper. The 2025 National Community Survey confirms what many residents already feel. Janesville scores high on safety. It scores high on parks and on mobility. But when it comes to trust in city leadership, trust in transparency, and trust in the opportunities to influence decisions, the scores fall below national benchmarks. Fewer residents reported attending public meetings. Fewer residents reported contacting elected officials or even volunteering. These aren't just numbers, folks. They're symptoms. Symptoms of a civic culture that prioritizes service delivery over shared decision-making. And when the City Council received those survey results on July 28th, the governance and participation data didn't make it into the public discussion. The most important civic health indicators stayed in the footnotes. Now, imagine a city where public participation is the default, where every meeting agenda, every survey result, every budget line is easy to find, easy to understand, and open for real input before decisions are made. Picture this. Agendas posted a week ahead. Plain language summaries. Full survey results published with side-by-side action plans. Data to dialogue forums turning feedback into policy priorities. Participatory budgeting so residents directly shape spending. Youth and neighborhood councils feeding fresh ideas to City Hall. In that city, every resident sees their fingerprint on the future. Other cities already do this, and their trust scores really soar. So again, the question, will Janesville keep editing the story or perhaps start writing it with its people? If you want to explore the full survey results, search Janesville National Survey 2025 in your browser. You'll find a link to the City of Janesville website, and the full Tableau dashboard is available for you to dig into the detail. Now let's shift our lens just a few miles south to Beloit. Here the story is different. Conversations with City Manager Jerry Gibliatos and Economic Development Director Drew Pennington reveal a city not just responding to challenges, but frankly outpacing them. Their secret? Well, adaptive financing tools, public-private collaboration, robust community participation. Beloit is agile enough to tailor deals quickly, yet substantial enough to wield serious financial leverage. That makes it a nimble and attractive partner for developers like Hendricks Development and others. Let's do this. Let's break it down. First, what do they do differently? Strategic use of tax incremental financing, or TIF. Beloit created a $6 million affordable rental housing fund to fill financing gaps for developers using WIDA tax credits. In early 2025, they added another $1 million to incentivize new home developers, covering infrastructure costs to lower end unit prices. Second, ARPA money and other city funding. Beloit allocated $15.2 million in ARPA funds. $11.2 million of it went to infrastructure, $2.95 million for homelessness prevention, $800,000 for nonprofit facility improvements, $250,000 for youth recreation programs. And they matched that up with additional community development block grant funding to support housing, neighborhoods, and economic development programs. Now, these federal infusions allowed Beloit to accelerate timelines, to de-risk, as it were, projects, and strengthen the infrastructure foundation supporting growth. Third, downtown activation. The Downtown Beloit Association, the Business Development Association, orchestrates marketing, beautification, events, and maintenance under a clear annual strategy. Couple that with people like Hendricks Development revitalizing their building portfolio downtown, which serves as the anchor, and private investment in public improvements reinforcing one another, you have a successful formula. But there's a fourth ingredient: proactive housing production and business recruitment, TIF-funded programs supporting market rate and affordable development. The city releases land to builders and maintains a pipeline of units and parcels under contract. Staff and partners actually recruit employees to both downtown and the Gateway Business Project. And finally, they put a spotlight on home ownership. In 2024, Beloit invested $175,000 in home funds for home ownership assistance. $75,000 of that went to neighborhood works of the Beloit Blackhawk region. In July 2025, the city recommended an additional $94,700. That funding has already helped families purchase homes. Hey, and where are they doing it? They're doing it on Dewey, on Prairie, on McKinley, on Forest, and Nelson Avenues. And what's next? Well, with ARPA dollars spent and state housing tax credits facing uncertainty, Beloit's going to need to lean even harder on maximizing the flexibility of their tax increment financing tools. They're going to have to pursue more seriously federal competitive grants. They're going to have to expand private sector capital partnerships, and they're lucky Hendricks Development is already a model player in that arena. They're going to have to regionalize their collaboration efforts and leverage it into reality, to spread infrastructure and housing costs across multiple funding sources. The city's next chapter depends upon whether it can keep this nimble, deal-closing culture that it has made alive. Without the one-time financing boosts that were made possible the last few years, things are going to have to change. Now imagine if every community did what Beloit's doing, leveraging creative financing tools, fostering general and genuine public-private partnerships, staying nimble in changing funding climates. Now picture this: downtowns maintained and marketed year-round with absolute confidence, developers stepping in where there's trust and momentum, communities anchored by home ownership, thriving businesses, and adaptable local government. You know, that's not just an idea. That's Beloit's reality, and it's working. So what's ahead? Information, believe me, is power. And what works in Beloit might work elsewhere. And, you know, every idea deserves the light of day and public discourse. So let's make sure our cities aren't just places we live, but places we shape, and we shape it together. Shift gears, today's Civic Education Corner. I call it a smarter way to hear from the public without losing elected control. This last week's column stirred the pot. When we first floated the idea of expanding citizen advisory committees, we really didn't expect the firestorm of comment that we received. Now, some responses were thoughtful. Others landed squarely in the "how dare you challenge elected authority" camp. But that's the point of hypothetically speaking. We hope to provoke civic dialogue, to get us thinking. A recent luncheon with a local attorney and a spirited email exchange with a former city council member, reminded us of three things. One, ideas without explanation are hard to defend. Two, open minds still exist. And three, shared goals tend to unite people across different viewpoints. When we channel our energy towards the same outcome, things happen. Representative governance is a democratic republic that we should enjoy. There are a few obstacles that, we can't overcome if we work together. The key? Easy access to the same information. So we're debating facts. We're not making assumptions. Here's our great big idea of the week. Read it, absorb it, think about it, and comment on it. I look forward to your reactions. And react constructively if you would. Because ideas become good or great when many heads wrestle with the problem set. Okay, here we go. The big idea, community expert advisory panels, CEAPs. Imagine a standing panel of 12 to 15 community volunteers. Let's see. Engineers, planners, teachers. We can bring in small business owners, scientists, neighborhood leaders, the cross-section of our community, ready to lend their expertise. Okay, what do? They review major proposals. They host public workshops. And they give staff and council a sharper, more informed snapshot of public priorities. Now, the key point. Their role is advisory only. Elected officials still decide. The city manager still runs the day-to-day. The difference? It comes down to this. Decisions are made with better, broader information. How it works? It's simple. Step one, you do some scoping. Staff drafts an issue summary. The CEAP identifies outreach strategies and knowledge gaps. From there, you go to step two, public engagement. CEAP co-hosts pop-ups. That is where they get out into the neighborhoods. They do neighborhood meetings and online surveys. They reach beyond the usual suspects in terms of getting public input. Step three, synthesis. Staff compiles trends. CEAP adds real-world context and professional expertise. And step four, the council reviews, because the bottom line is with the council. CEAP and staff present their findings. The council weighs the advice and makes the final call. Step five, closing the loop. Publish the "You Spoke, We Listened" report so residents can see the results. So that is how it could work. And believe me, it works with the city council manager form of government too. It protects elected authority. Councils keep decision-making power. It supports the city manager, extends staff capacity without inflating budgets. And here's an important one. It cuts consultant costs, local expertise replacing expensive boilerplate reports. It improves trust. Residents get to see how their voices shape decisions. And it's been working all over the country. Next time around, we'll have more detail on how we could put such a model to work in Janesville. It's just something to leave for you to think about. Because interaction among us, sharing ideas, and hopefully finding solutions together is what representative democracy is all about. Stay engaged, stay informed, because it's your community. And together, we'll make this a great place that it is intended to be. Have a great day.